Hello, my name is Morgan Gray, and welcome back to the Afrocentric podcast.
Like leaves on the Mississippi River. Like leaves in the Mississippi fire. Like leaves in the Mississippi choir. Black leaves on the Mississippi land. And we've got garden, we've got sons and daughters, we got grit and glory, we've got marvelous stories, we've got strength like towers, we got hope and power. God made woman with an iron's hand, placed her up on heaven's land. God made woman with an iron's hand, raised her up on heaven's land. With strength like towers, we've got hope and power. God made woman with an iron hand, raised her up in heaven's land.
We don't funk with racism. We don't funk with people who don't support the LGBTQ plus community. And baby, we damn sure don't funk with anybody who don't love a beautiful black queen, baby. You see this case?
When they go low, I go low.
You don't let nobody act black and then go home and be white.
I got 2 pistols and a pit bull. Me. That's all I need.
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip in the average Negro.
You think Harriet Tubman was walking around with a fucking nice shiny fucking dress on with a fucking crown on her head when she was taking slaves to freedom?
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
And we are back with the Afrocentric podcast. We have a very informative conversation for you guys today. I'm very excited. The title of this episode is The Ballot and the Bullet. And we are focusing on voting rights then and now. And it is featuring Miss Teresa Roberts. Miss Teresa, will you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am Teresa Roberts, a native right here in Shannon, Mississippi. I would say that I am really an activist in the community, and I work diligently with the Get Out the Vote Coalition, North Mississippi, and just interested in trying to make sure that we exercise our rights to vote.
Miss Teresa, you just got your advocacy license this summer. You're not running like an advocate. You are an advocate.
Yes, I did, and I thank the Southern Metropolitan Law Center for that training. It was great. I knew a lot, but I learned a lot. So I feel like I am more prepared for voter mobilization, education, whatever I need to do now to better equip citizens in my community.
I think you're correct. Now, I met Miss Teresa when I moved down here to Oklahoma, Shannon, Tupelo.
You were living next door to me.
And the whole time, I had no clue.
Right.
And then interacting down here and then going to Jackson and reconnecting again when she got into the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I was just like, yeah, I really want Miss Teresa to come speak. I said, well, what you want to talk about? And what did you say?
Bold team.
Yeah,
that's my heart.
And I love that. And I think that is something that's very common against black baby boomers, like people, especially black women of your generation. And I love that because I feel like that's a dying art.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it now. In this episode, we will be exploring some of the historical struggles from voting rights before and during the Civil Rights Movement. We will be highlighting the sacrifices made by activists in the ongoing fight for equality at the ballot box. Me and Miss Teresa will be reflecting on the profound impact of losing civil rights leaders, examining how these losses resonate with both personal and societal levels, and then we'll be addressing the generational disconnect regarding the importance of voter rights, emphasizing how different life was before these rights were secured and the necessity of protecting them today. The purpose of this episode really is to mobilize young voters, particularly those in Gen Z and millennials, for the upcoming election. And I'm really excited because it's needed and the election is coming near.
It is.
Is there anything you want to say before we start?
I'm just saying that I'm hoping that our young people would get excited about what is happening, because actually statistical data shows that the young generation, they can change the election. Mm-hmm. They have the ability to change the whole election. So I'm just hoping that they have listened and they, would take their vote to the box. I'm hoping they do that because it is so important.
Well, if they are here, they are prepared to listen to life before the voting rights were secured, as well as to reflect on what's going on in the importance of voting rights right now.
I wish they could listen to there's a story on Facebook. There's a lady on Facebook and she got sick. And the doctors told her she had less than 6 months to live. And she said, I just want to live to vote for democracy. She had 6 months to live. And she said, I just want to see, can I make it to vote for democracy one more time for my children, my grandkids, for those who are trying to come over to the land of the dreamland, which is the United States. She said, I want to vote one more time. And she was like, when is absentee voting? And absentee voting was yesterday, September 23rd, first day that people could vote. Because she thinks that she might not make it, she voted, absentee voted, and she got a chance to vote for democracy one more time.
Former President Jimmy Carter, who is he is on, what is it when you about to die? And hospice.
Yeah.
He was talking about he really wants to be able to vote for this upcoming election, and he planned on voting for Kamala Harris if the Lord make it in the creek don't rise.
He can vote now because September 3rd can happen. It's here.
Well, honey, we praying for all of them. I hope y'all get out and vote and do what you got to do. Make sure you check and make sure that your registration is up to date and it is valid. Now, for my listening audience, I want to thank you guys so much for choosing to be Afrocentric. If you like content like this and you would like to see more of it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and make sure your voices are heard. And now with that, let's move on to the next segment.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ooh. Shortcake!
Damn! Yo, killing me with this.
All right, Miss Teresa. I got a game for y'all wanted to play. I don't know if you know this, but this here's America's favorite game here. Okay. And it's called Fight, Marry, Kill African American Edition. So this game plus a classic twist on the F, Marry, Kill game. And I'm going to present you with 3 Black household names, and you're going to decide whether you're going to fight them, whether you're going to marry them, or if you're going to kill them.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited. I had told Shauna said, I don't think Miss Teresa going to answer them questions. I said, yes, she will. I got faith in you. You ready?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. Fight, marry, kill. Ike Turner, Martin Lawrence, and Marvin Gaye. Fight, marry, kill.
Okay. I'm gonna kill Ike Turner.
Why you gonna put that man down like that?
Because of domestic violence. I got a thing against men when it comes to domestic violence. Domestic violence coming up in October this month.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I'm gonna kill him.
That ain't no problem. There's no problem. I'm sure somebody gotta understand.
I'm a man of my own game.
Yeah, dog. I'm good too. We gonna get it off.
Get it off.
Yes, please. And I love that for him.
And Lawrence one is fight.
Fight Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence. I fight Martin Lawrence, but he's so funny.
He is a hilarious character. Now, few
I
questions.
think I had to beat him because he'd be lower.
Yeah, boy, I think he'll like run circles around.
Yeah.
Now, if you was gonna kill Ike Turner, what would be your weapon of choice?
A band. DAT. Not a bad flying band.
And I'm Teresa, you up here cutting up. You ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I did. And that's fine with me. Oh, and then concludes our game. Real simple. Okay, the break off. Yes, come on. Thank you so much for playing America's favorite game, Fight Mary Kill, African American edition.
Mr. Moderator, Reverend Cleave, and Milton, brothers and sisters, and friends, and I see some enemies. In fact, I think we'd be fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that there were some enemies present. This afternoon, we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. But before we get into it, since this is the year of the ballot or the bullet, I would like to clarify some things that refer to me personally concerning my own personal position. I'm still a Muslim. That is, my religion is still Islam. My religion is still Islam. I still credit Mr. Muhammad for what I know and what I am. He's the one who opened my eyes. And at present, I'm the minister of the newly founded Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which has its offices in the Teresa Hotel right in the heart of Harlem. That's the Black Belt in New York City. And when we realize that Adam Clayton Powell is a Christian minister, he has the Abyssinia Baptist Church, but at the same time he's more famous for his political struggling. And Dr. King is a Christian minister from Atlanta, Georgia, but he's become more famous for being involved in the civil rights struggle. There's another in New York, Reverend Galamison. I don't know if you've heard of him out here. He's a Christian minister from Brooklyn, but has become famous for his fight against the segregated school system in Brooklyn. Reverend Cleave, right here, is a Christian minister here in Detroit. He's the head of the Freedom Now Party. All of these are Christian ministers. All of these are Christian ministers, but they don't come to us as Christian ministers. They come to us as fighters in some other category. I'm a Muslim minister. The same as they are Christian ministers, I'm a Muslim minister. And I don't believe in fighting today in any one front, but on all fronts. In fact, I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter. Islam is my religion, but I believe my religion is my personal business. It governs my personal life, my personal morals, and my religious philosophy is personal between me and the God in whom I believe, just as the religious philosophy of these others is between them and the God in whom they believe. And this is best this way. Were we to come out here discussing religion, we'd have too many differences from the outstart, and we could never get together. So today, though Islam is my religious philosophy, my political, economic, and social philosophy is black nationalism. You and As I say, if we bring up religion, we'll have differences, we'll have arguments, we'll never be able to get together. But if we keep our religion at home, keep our religion in the closet, keep our religion between ourselves and our God, but when we come out here, we have a fight that's common to all of us against the enemy who is common to all of us. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that the black man should control the politics and the politicians in his own community. The time when white people can come in our community and get us to vote for them so that they can be our political leaders and tell us what to do and what not to do is long gone. By the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can send another Negro into the community, get you and me to support him so he can use him to lead us astray, those days are long gone. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that if you and I are going to live in a black community, and that's where we're going to live, because as soon as you move into one of their, as soon as you move out of the black community into their community, it's mixed for a period of time, but they're gone, and you're right there all by yourself. We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives. And until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of our community at heart. So the political philosophy of black nationalism only means that we will have to carry on a program, a political program of re-education to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature. And then we will, whenever we get ready to cast our ballot, that ballot will be cast for a man of the community who has the good of the community at heart. And the economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we should own and operate and control the economy of our community. You would never find, you can't open up a black store in a white community. White man won't even patronize you. And he's not wrong. He got sense enough to look out for himself. And you who don't have sense enough to look out for yourself. The white man is too intelligent to let someone else come and gain control of the economy of his community. But you will let anybody come in and control the economy of your community, control the housing, control the education, control the jobs, control the businesses under the pretext that you want to integrate. No, you're out of your mind. The economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we have to become involved in a program of re-education to educate our people into the importance of knowing that when you spend your dollar out of the community in which you live, the community in which you spend your money becomes richer and richer. The community out of which you take your money becomes poorer and poorer. And because these Negroes who have been misled, misguided, are breaking their necks to take their money and spend it with the man. The man is becoming richer and richer, and you're becoming poorer and poorer. And then what happens? The community in which you live becomes a slum. It becomes a ghetto. The conditions become run down. And then you have the audacity to complain about poor housing in a run-down community. Why, you run it down yourself when you take your dollar out. And you and I are in a double track, because not only do we lose by taking our money someplace else and spending it, when we try and spend it in our own community, we're trapped because we haven't had sense enough to set up stores and control the businesses of our community. The man who's controlling the stores in our community is a man who doesn't look like we do. He's a man who doesn't even live in the community. So you and I, even when we try and spend our money in the block where we live or the area where we live, we're spending it with a man who, when the sun goes down, takes that basket full of money in another part of the town. So we're trapped, double trapped, triple trapped. Anywhere we go, we find that we're trapped. And every kind of solution that someone comes up with is just another trap. But the political and economic philosophy of black nationalism, the economic philosophy of black nationalism shows our people the importance of setting up these little stores and developing them and expanding them into larger operations. Woolworth didn't start out big like they are today. They started out with a dime store and expanded and expanded and expanded until today they're all over the country and all over the world, and they're getting some of everybody's money. Now this, what you and I in General Motors, the same way, didn't start out like it is. It started out just a little rat race type operation, and it expanded and expanded until today it's where it is right now. And you and I have to make a start. And the best place to start is right in the community where we live. So our people not only have to be re-educated to the importance of supporting black business, but the black man himself has to be made aware of the importance of going into business. And once you and I go into business, we own and operate at least the businesses in our community. What we will be doing is developing a situation wherein we will actually be able to create employment for the people in the community. And once you can create some employment in the community where you live, it will eliminate the necessity of you and me having to act ignorantly and disgracefully, boycotting and picketing some cracker someplace else, trying to beg him for a job. Anytime you have to rely upon your enemy for a job, you're in bad shape. And he is your enemy. Anytime, you wouldn't be in this country if some enemy hadn't kidnapped you and brought you here. On the other hand, some of you think you came here on the Mayflower. So as you can see, brothers and sisters, today, this afternoon, it's not our intention to discuss religion. We're going to forget religion. If we bring up religion, we'll be in an argument. And the best way to keep away from arguments and differences, as I said earlier, put your religion at home, in the closet. Keep it between you and your God. Because if it hasn't done anything more for you than it has, you need to forget it anyway. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or a nationalist, we all have the same problem. They don't hang you because you're a Baptist, they hang you because you're black. They don't attack me because I'm a Muslim, they attack me because I'm black. They attack all of us for the same reason. All of us catch hell from the same enemy. We're all in the same bag, in the same boat. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. All of them from the same enemy. The government has failed us. You can't deny that. Anytime you live in the 20th century, 1964, and you walking around here singing, "We shall overcome," the government has failed. This is part of what's wrong with you. You do too much singing. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Okay.
Now, let's go ahead and jump into the body of our conversation today. I want to really open up and talk about the ballots or the bullet, right? Because I'm not sure if a lot of people are like have a great understanding of where this phrase comes from. And it is a famous speech given by Malcolm X in 1964.
It is.
So I'm going to go through some points so that people can get a feel for this conversation, and then we'll divulge into the conversation. Now, let's talk about the origin of this phrase. Malcolm X really delivered this speech on 2 occasions in 1964. So on April 3rd, 1964 and April 12th, 1964 in Ohio and in Michigan. But the phrase itself, the ballot and the bullet, is a powerful rhetoric device that Malcolm X used to frame the political choices facing African Americans at this time. So the phrase, the ballot, really does represent the power of voting and political participation. Malcolm X urged Black people to exercise their right to vote as a means for achieving equality and justice. Now, the bullet it symbolizes the potential for armed self-defense or a more militant action if peaceful political means fail. Really what it was a warning that if African Americans are continuously denied their rights, violence might be inevitable, right?
Exactly.
So, he delivered this speech during an election year in 1964, and the Civil Rights Act was being debated in Congress. The tensions were high because of racial discrimination and violence, and Malcolm was using this phrase to emphasize the urgency of the situation, really to present African Americans with a choice. Either their voices would be heard through the democratic process, or they might be forced to consider a more drastic measure. So the broader meaning of this, it goes beyond its literal interpretation. It is a call for political engagement and empowerment. It emphasizes the importance of self-determination for African Americans, and it's a warning for potential consequences if peaceful methods do fail. And it echoes earlier American revolutionary rhetoric, and it draws these parallels between the struggle of civil rights and the country's founding principles. So I wanted to kind of frame this conversation first before we really got into it, because I want people to understand where we're coming from when we get into these, because it's the mindset that some people had, but this mindset is not highlighted now when we're talking about voting rights in history, like in the United States schools or historical classes. Stuff like this isn't often publicized, right?
Right.
So I really wanted to go ahead and jump into the first question. Miss Teresa, can you really share your personal experiences growing up during the civil rights era? Yeah, what were some significant events or challenges that you witnessed firsthand, and how did they shape your understanding for the struggle for voting rights?
Okay, I was born in 1959, which was I was about 5 or 6 years old, probably when Dr. King was assassinated. So as I grew older, I learned about civil rights. But I went to a Black school because, we were not segregated at the time. So I was about 4th or 5th grade when we segregated. But as life went on, there were so many things that as an African American, I couldn't do at my school, at the white school.
Mm-hmm.
So like, say just I want to be president of my class, that was not possible because I wasn't allowed to run for that position. The only position I could run for was a reporter.
Mm.
And so I ran for reporter because I had very good grades and I was a reporter of my class. Well, we couldn't get like Miss NHS, we couldn't get those positions. So I organized a walkout in the school.
No, you did.
Yes, I did. My auntie taught me the ropes. So I organized a walkout in the high school, and guess what? We didn't go back in. I had one person cross my line. They don't call their name, but I still got a problem with them today. But anyway, we ended up getting a Black Miss NHS, Mr. Black. Whatever they got, we got.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of that moment in my life. I think that's where I started, in school, because my auntie would take me around. Then I used to leave school and go to Tupelo. and they had marches in Tupelo, and I marched against Ku Klux Klan in 1978 on the streets of Tupelo.
So, like, what was the atmosphere like? Oh, how did you feel?
It was tension. I was scared. But, it's kind of like those people on the Pettimus Bridge, Bloody Sunday. I know they were scared. I know they were. I walked that bridge, and I feel it when I feel something when I walk across that bridge. But I know those people were scared. I was scared, but I had to do it because it needed to be done. And so there were just so many things, being a cheerleader at the school, just being a cheerleader. They would handpick you. I got handpicked for everything because I had good grades. I didn't have to go out for anything, but I didn't want to be a cheerleader. But what I'm saying is there were so many things that African American children could do. But now, today, my daughter was valedictorian of her class. And then I couldn't be valedictorian of my class. But that changed. She was president of her class. I couldn't be president of my class. So because of voting, because of activists, we are able to do these things that we couldn't do back then.
So you feel like your generation, in a sense, laid the foundation for what it is that we have now?
Of course we did. Of course we did. But there were people who were much older than me who taught us, this generation. And here now, my generation is fighting hard. We're fighting hard. But it seems like we miss it with our Gen X. We just cannot get Gen Z to see. There seems to be a disconnect somewhere. But right now, these people 65 to 80 years old, we're fighting hard.
Yes, and y'all show up the most.
We do show up.
Y'all really do. If I'm going to go vote, I rarely see people in my age bracket, but I'm almost guaranteed to see a baby boomer up there with a collar shirt on, tucked in, some sweatpants, and a hat.
Exactly.
I know it.
Exactly. But see, in statistics down to show you that older people vote more.
They do.
The older people vote more. We really have a problem with those 18 to 40 years old. They're not voting like they should be voting.
Why do you feel like your generation votes more and our generation votes less?
Because we went through it. My daughter didn't have to work for tennis shoes. You understand what I'm saying? If she asked for tennis shoes, I bought her tennis shoes. So I feel like Gen Z has been handed what they need because the parents are able to give them basically what they need. Most parents, we do have those who are in the lower range of income, but some of these kids, they didn't have to work for it. I was able to give my daughter, and my sister was able to give her son. We had to really work for it, and we had to do double that our counterparts had to do. So if I wanted to be in administration, I had to have 2 degrees, but my counterpart didn't have to have a degree. So it's the work that we had to do. We know what it is to fight for something. It's yours. It should be yours. I'm going to give you an example. I was a registered nurse, made a very good income. I had a ward secretary that worked under me. She took orders from me and whatever I told her to do. But guess what? She was able to go get a new car the year I would have won. I couldn't even get one.
Pay gap.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was like maybe 21, 22. She would have got a brand new car. I went to the same lot. I couldn't get a car. And I was a registered nurse. My salary was 3 times more than hers, but I was black. You understand what I'm saying? My sister wanted to build a house. She lived in a trailer. Well, her both worked a good job. She couldn't get a house because she's black. You get what I'm saying? So we have went through those things where we've had to take things that it just wasn't right. It wasn't right.
I also feel like your generation had a better education than our generation.
Of course we did, because we had black instructors. We had black teachers.
Yes.
And they cared. We weren't just a number. We were a student, and we were their child. You understand? So when we had a problem, they helped us take care of it. When we couldn't read or couldn't get our homework, they helped us do it. It wasn't like you go home and you just a number. There was a difference in your instructors, and you respected our teacher. They dressed like teachers. They looked like a teacher. When you walk down the hall, you knew a teacher from a student. I can go to the schoolhouse now. I don't know who the student and who the teacher. Because they all look the same. The dressing is horrible. I'm here to say it. It's horrible. So that's the difference. The education was better. They cared, and we learned or not, and we learned about the struggle in our school system. Right now, our young people, they don't know the history. They don't know it. And if you don't know your history, what will you do? You will repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't know. They're not educated to the fact. You can ask about Malcolm X. They've heard of Malcolm X, but they really don't know what Malcolm X stood for. They don't know.
Well, they also don't know how to read analog clocks, and they also don't know how to write checks.
Right.
I know it. So they are.
That's right.
No, they don't. So they're being effectively left behind because of the education system.
Exactly.
And they're also being bombarded through social media, and that is starting to shift the mind in so many different ways.
You got 5th and 6th graders can't write a paragraph. Mm-hmm. They can't get started.
No.
They don't know what a subject and a verb is. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm talking about. I know exactly. And this is a fact. Because I help mentor students. They don't know how to write a paragraph. They don't know how to get started. It's sad. And I'm like, you don't even know how to sign your name. Nobody cursing right. Like, what's going to happen to this generation?
They're going to become degenerates and they'll become slaves to the jail system. That's what they want.
Exactly. It's sad. It really is. But it goes back to, I want to say, teachers are not responsible for raising your children.
But the parents are making it their responsibility.
Exactly. But we are missing it. We're missing the mark in the home. We're missing it. So we have young parents raising children. I call it baby raising babies. That's what I call it, okay? So if you hadn't been raised, how are you going to raise your children?
Mm-hmm. Like my mama said, them parents be getting on the school bus with their kids.
Exactly.
I know it.
Exactly. So that's my spiel during the generation when I was during the era of civil rights. I marched. I fought for rights. I organized, and I find myself doing it today. I used to tell my auntie all the time, why don't you just be quiet? Why don't you sit down? Everybody listening, but guess what? I was listening because I found myself not doing exactly what she was doing. Being an advocate.
All right, and that was such a beautiful answer. And I really wanted to divulge a little bit deeper into it because during the civil rights movement, we really did, or y'all saw the loss of so many leaders and activists on a macro scale and on a micro scale. Mm-hmm. So my question is how did the assassination of figures like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X impact the movement on a national scale? And then I really want to discuss the effect of tragic losses like Medgar Evers and Emmett Till in Mississippi. And how did they really galvanize the fight for civil rights in our community?
Well, when you lose figures like those, anger occurs in your race of people because you killed someone that they love. So first of all, the black race had to step back because they were angry, ready to fight. But that ain't what Dr. King taught us to do. Mm-mm. He didn't teach that be peaceful and whatever you do. But Dr. King had prepared. He had prepared us for his leaving. He made a speech. I've been to the mountaintop. He talked about that. And he let us know that it might come a time where I'm not going to be here with you, but it's going to be okay. But he said one day, he had that dream one day. But when a figure like Dr. King, even Malcolm X, his movement was different than Dr. King, not as peaceful as Dr. King. Because like he said, if the political choice is not allowed, we might have to revert to something else, using arms. But Dr. King always said no arms, okay? Well, Malcolm X had a way of order. He was of Islam, and there was so much order. And I think what made our counterparts so afraid of him was the fact that he could snap his finger and 100 men would turn a certain way. And he could just snap his finger and people would know what to do. He was so in tune to order.
He was militant.
And so that was something I think that the counterpart was afraid of. And Dr. King, he was so peaceful, and he could get people to do what he said to do. And then it moved on down to maybe Evers, and then Emmett Till, and constantly killing people. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. I was even worried about it when President Obama was in the office. I prayed for him so much for his safety. I'm praying for Vice President Kamala Harris, because when Black people come into leadership and our counterparts see that there's a large following, they'll try to eliminate you. So losing people in leadership is stagnate the era, it stagnate the people, and they have to regroup, start over. There has to be another leader to come forth.
Poncho and I have just had a very fruitful and meaningful hour with President Johnson to discuss some of the vital and important issues of our nation in the area of civil rights. I might say that in the very beginning I congratulated the President for the passage of the new voting bill, knowing that he had worked so passionately and unrelentingly for this bill, and made it very clear to him that this would be a great step forward in removing all of the remaining obstacles to the right to vote. President Johnson asked me to come in mainly to discuss the pending conference that will come up in the fall on the civil rights. He is very concerned about making this an in-depth conference to grapple with the depths and dimensions of the problem of racial injustice in our country, and he wants us to emerge from this conference with concrete, positive recommendations so that in the future we will be able to grapple with this problem in a more profound way. He asked for my suggestions and my recommendations, and I said to him that as soon as possible I would be submitting these recommendations to him in the way that the Negro community and the allies in the white community will be able to bring these issues out in the open so that the communities involved will not be able to ignore the problem.
Dr. King, do you anticipate it'll take some urging to get some people to take advantage of the opportunity to register?
It will definitely take some urging. Naturally, when you have communities where people have been denied the right to vote for, well, now 80 years, where people have been denied the right even to go up and register because of fear of economic, social, and other reprisals, they have often lost motivation, and they have unconsciously become apathetic. And we're going to have to arouse the motivation and certainly lift the Negro from this apathetic slump in many communities, this understandable apathy. But we have, I think, the resources to do it, and we're just going to do it on the simple door-knocking, going into community campaign that will bring them out and take them down to register.
Dr. King, how long will it be before the number of Negro elected officials is proportionate to the number of Negroes in the electorate?
It's difficult to give the number of years. I think with the new voting bill, it will certainly speed up the time, and I think within the next 8 or 10 years, we will see new and marvelous developments in this area, and I think we will see a great rise in the percentage of Negroes represented in government, both local and national.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Who was Medgar Evers in Mississippi? Like, what did he do? What did he represent? And how did the community respond to his death?
Medgar Evers was a great activist. He was on point in fighting for the civil rights of people. And even today, I'm engaged in a program. It's called Choose to Grow. I mentor elementary students and talk about civil rights, part of in that program. Mm-hmm. And that lets you know that Medgar Evers was so strong. There are still programs going on in his name. Yeah. And there people are still using him as an example of civil rights. So losing Medgar Evers in McTeal was a heartbreak to the African American community.
Were you scared, like, when you were living in Mississippi and, like, this was considered a sundown town? Were you scared?
No, I wasn't. And another thing is, even 2-3 days ago, a lady asked me, I don't know where I was somewhere in town, and she said, "Where are you from?" I said, she said, "Oh my God.
Doing the most."
She said, "It's horrible now." And I'm like, "No, ma'am, it's not what you think it is." Some horrible things did happen in Mississippi right now. We're putting a trip together, a Freedom Summer. We're going down to Philadelphia, October the 8th, in the visible Northeast Mississippi, which I'm a member of the steering committee. We're taking a bus down there because at Freedom Summer, we had all these students that come from up north to help with civil rights, trying to get Black people ready to vote. Okay, that was Freedom Summer. Mm-hmm. And so even today, still now, we're doing things, trying to make sure that we're educated to what happened. But civil rights to Medgar Evans was so important. And to lose him in the community was a heartbreak, as I said. But we're not stopping. It only makes the community stronger because we know that if you're killing people, fighting for rights, you're fighting because you don't want people to be in power. Because voting is power. And that's one of the things Medgar Evans stood for.
You think people, when they commit those heinous acts, they ever realize that the more you kill people, the more that enlightens and enrages people, and it makes it the thought process have more longevity?
No, I think they know that they're stopping the bleed for a minute, but it's gonna bleed back again. It's just trying to put a halt on what the community is doing or what the people are doing, democracy, trying to put a halt on it. They know they're not gonna stop it, but they just putting a halt on it.
Do you remember where you were when Martin Luther King died?
Oh, yeah, I was there in the classroom when they announced it.
They announced it over the intercom?
When I was in school, I was like, what, 4th, 5th grade maybe? Something like that. Yeah, I was in the classroom.
How did you feel? Did you
actually? No, because, I was so young till I didn't really understand death and dying. You understand what I'm saying? But I knew he was a leader. I knew that much about him. And they announced it over the intercom. But when I came home, my father and mother explained it more in depth, who he was, what he was doing. But I didn't know in depth, about fight, because I was like, what, 4th, 5th grade? So there was a lot of things I didn't know, but I knew he was a leader.
Mm.
But I was in the classroom.
As long as you was in the classroom and you wasn't out there in them streets, because I know they was somewhere going crazy.
Oh, yes. There's a rage all over everywhere.
I know it was. And I know when Malcolm died, there was a rage too, all on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to this third question. And I feel like this question we're moving away from the past and kind of coming full circle with this moment. And I wanted to talk about the voting policies and the fate of voting after the election if things go left, right? Right. So we have current initiatives like Project 2025. One of the main purposes is really to alter voting rights.
Yeah.
What specific threats do you see to hard-won progress to the civil rights movement? Like, how can communities proactively work to safeguard?
15 minutes past midnight, Evers got out of his car beside his home in a Negro residential area. In a vacant lot about 40 yards away, a sniper fired a single shot from a high-powered rifle at Evers' silhouette. The bullet hit him in the back, crashed through his body, through a window into the house. He died within an hour at a Jackson hospital. City detectives believe the fatal shot was fired from this sweet gum tree. They have found a rifle in the bushes which they think is the murder weapon. They say they also have other clues. Mayor Allen Thompson cut short a Florida vacation and rushed back to City Hall, where he made this statement.
The City of Jackson offers $5,000 reward to anyone who gives evidence leading to the arrest and the conviction of the guilty.
In the Negro community, the mood is sullen anger and a desire for revenge.
Now, for many of us who've gone overseas, fought for this country, we fought for Mississippi, we fought for Alabama, we fought for North Carolina, we fought for Illinois, and we fought for every state in this union. Now, we're going to stay here and see that the things that the mayor has said become a reality.
This event, this tragic occurrence, should cause all persons of goodwill to be aroused and should cause them to be more determined than ever before to break down all of the barriers of racial segregation and discrimination.
In the light of current initiatives like Project 25, which aim to alter voting rights, what specific threats do you see to the hard-won progress of the civil rights movement? And how can communities proactively work to safeguard their voting power against these potential changes?
You know, I had the privilege to attend the Democratic National Convention.
No, you did.
Yes, I did, girl. And it was awesome. And the electric that you saw on television, it was every bit of that. It was just electric. It was. But I can't think of a young man who came up and he had the Project 2025 book. He had the book in his hand, it's so many pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had this book in his hand. And he had 4 people that was on the stage where they would put the person picture on the thing. And he said, okay, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be so-and-so and help people vote. He turned in his page. You ain't going to be able to do that because on this page, it says these methods are here in place that's going to prevent you from voting or whatever. But anyway, so they kind of explained Project 2025, but Project 2025 has so many methods in there to weaken individuals' right to vote, such as purging, getting them off the list, passing stricter rules to vote, as benefits for wealthy donors when it comes to getting things done as far as election. There's going to be fraud. All of these things are going to take place in 2025, but it can be stopped because education is the key.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key right there.
Is there something funny?
No.
I didn't think so. Republican colleagues very often like to quote Dr. King, I don't know, maybe for some faux civil rights credibility or to pervert his words to suit your extremist needs, while working actively to undermine his legislative legacy. Republican attacks on the EOC are part of their broader efforts to weaken civil rights protections. One of their goals plainly laid out in Project 2025, a 1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies. Mr. Berry, Chapter 18 of the Project 2025 manifesto is about the Department of Labor. And you are the author of that chapter, correct?
Lead author, yes. There's others too.
Yes, you are. I believe the American public should know exactly how you and the Republican majority that invited you to testify today want to sabotage the EOC, rewrite the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and push all of us back to an era of Jim Crow racism. I'm shocked that my colleague across the aisle was in disbelief at our characterizations and assertions of racism and discrimination when even former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the Republican side of the aisle looked like the most restrictive country club in America. We all know that Make America Great Again is about making America white only again. On the first page of Chapter 18, Project 2025 complains about how the Biden administration has been fighting for racial equity. On the next page, it calls for eliminating data collection on race and ethnicity in employment. On the page after that, it calls for rescinding an executive order signed in 1965 that prohibits discrimination in hiring by contractors. Mr. Berry, do these terrible ideas sound familiar?
They're great ideas.
These terrible ideas sound familiar? Of course they do. You came up with them. Mr. Berry, I find it shameful to advance a vision attacking the very policies and agencies that have helped Black Americans secure jobs, earn a living, and provide for our families. This Project 2025 plan is policy violence, plain and simple. Its authors have placed such a large target on the EOC because of the incredible work the EOC is doing today. Last year alone, the agency filed more than 27,000 charges of race-based discrimination. These workers and their families have a pathway to justice, accountability, and healing because of the policies and regulations that Project 2025 is trying to get rid of. Ms. Wiley, how would workers be harmed by Project 2025's commitment to undermining crucial protections that are enforced by EOC and other federal agencies?
Well, essentially, it guts the ability to both be able to have the rights and have enforcement and protection of the rights that we already have, and we've been seeing improvements and advancements when we have been enforcing them. And I'm also deeply concerned with any suggestion that we should not be collecting data or that labor rights, the rights to organize, which has been so important for workers across race, including white men, to ensure that they're getting fair wages and safe working conditions. All of these are actually in that chapter, and they threaten our workplaces for people who are white, for people of color, for people of all backgrounds in this country. And I think that's why we all need to be concerned, because it really is about all of us.
That's right. They threaten our workplaces for every person who calls this country home. EOC offers essential protections that create workplaces where all of us can thrive, but Project 2025 aspires to be the realization of a decades-long crusade by Republicans to strip away this key pillar of the Civil Rights Act. As a founding member of the Stop Project 2025 Task Force, I look forward to showing and telling the American people exactly who you are, Mr. Berry, along with your extremist friends. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone... Is there something funny?
No.
I didn't think so. Nothing funny about this. And in honor of my departed mother and for my 15-year-old daughter, I will do everything possible to stop you from building the world that you were hell-bent on doing. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone can show up to work free from discrimination.
So when you, like me yesterday, I'm 65. Guess what I did? I got up and voted. I put it on Facebook. I'm 65. If you are 65 or older, or if you cannot get to the polls on November the 5th because of a valid reason, you can go vote absentee. I call it also a form of early voting. Even though Mississippi don't have early voting. That's another thing Project 2025 will try to make sure to prevent early voting. That's absentee voting. But see, Mississippi don't have early voting, but we call it early voting because you can vote absentee. Because election ain't to November the 5th, but people are voting now. So we do call it early voting, but it's actually absentee, saying, hey, I won't be here on November 5th, so I'm going to vote now. But if you're 65, well, see, that's education. So you're having the people I sent that message to in my phone. I send it to everybody in my phone. If you got an elder, you got a friend, you work a job from 12 to 12, if you work out of town, I put all down an example. Education is the key. So we have to educate our people, what they can do to prevent all of this disenfranchising people to vote.
I think the problem is that, number one, some people don't want to be educated. Some people don't want to listen to good reads and good sound reads.
Exactly. Well, let me give you an example.
Tell me.
I do voter registration at the high school.
Okay.
And you have students that hey, are you registered? Are you 18? You be 18 for the... Some students tell you, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm looking at them like, baby, come here, let me talk to you. I don't try to, I just try to educate them. Do you know this person? Do you know what they did? No. Do you know when the election is? No. Do you know who running for office? No. I'm like, baby, this phone in your hand and CNN or MSNBC or somebody, anybody read across your phone? You ain't sounding new. No, man. Again, education. So if you're not educated, you don't know. And they just tell you, I won't do it.
And they don't want to do it. They don't have no urgency. And like you said, they haven't been put in a situation that has awakened them. And my thing is this, I feel like our generation has really gotten so far away from the community that they're so shifted to individualism. They don't want to do anything unless it impacts them personally or someone that is within their close family, like a mother or a sister. And in some cases, that don't even move.
Exactly. But it's going to take organizations. It's going to take our churches. Let me give you an example. My sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho, which is Nu Omega Sigma, we developed a PowerPoint called NOS, Nu Omega Sigma 101. It is to educate our young people. And what we are trying to do is put this information out there. And we use real live or examples of situations that relates to the young person. Let me give you an example. Say you got a basketball player, a football player. Doing real good in school. Mama is a registered nurse. Doing well. They're doing well. But all of a sudden, mama get breast cancer. And mama now can't afford to do all the stuff she needs because she got to have chemo, radiation, and have medication. She got to do all these things. But now you got this child who said, I wanted to go to Howard, I wanted to go to Tennessee, wherever they wanted to go. But mama can't afford it right now because mama's sick, right? Mama need Medicaid expansion. But guess what? Mississippi don't even have Medicaid expansion. Mama probably can't even afford the insurance anymore. So she got to have Medicaid. So where is she going to get this money now to send you to the college you want to go to? Okay? So I'm telling you, why ain't you vote for the person that's promoting things to help middle class and help those people can't help themselves? You have to give them examples like this. So you got two peoples here. You got Tate Reeves here. You got Presley here. That Brandon Presley. Okay. Tate Reeves said, no, we ain't doing Medicaid expansion. Okay. Brandon Presley said, who are you voting for?
The one that want to expand Medicaid.
Okay. So your mother now has cancer and she needs medical help. Who you voting for? Now you're going to tell me it's not important. So you have to give them live scenarios. How it affects you, you know? Those are the kind of things we talk about.
It's just sad, though. It's sad that you would have to even spoon feed someone like that in order to get them to
understand.
No, because it shows the lack of empathy.
Right.
It really does, because when it comes to things like bodily autonomy, when in the case of women, them men, they'll say, well, I'm pro-life. I don't believe in abortion and stuff. And it isn't until their wives are getting ready to give birth and they're having issues with
after pregnancy or whatever.
The baby is already dead in the womb and they got to wait the pads and they almost die. Like, it shouldn't have to.
It shouldn't come to that. It shouldn't come to that.
Oh, and it's just really, really sad. It's really sad to see it. It's sad to see people trying to justify it, but it's not just them, because then you also have white women, a whole nother group of people who could physically be put in those situations, but will still vote against their own best interest because they choose to be white first before they are woman.
That's right. And they choose the party over.
They do.
They choose to party over.
I mean, in a sense, I feel like they're starting to gravitate.
They are.
I feel like the white baby boomers are also starting to gravitate. I feel like the black men who are baby boomers got more sense than these younger black men.
Yes.
Because like they listen to sound reason. And I've been seeing it, and it's good to hear you. Like Kamala Harris just got the Taylor Swift. What is it? Endorsement. Like, I would have never expected her to do something like that. And Taylor Swift is catching flack. She catching out, and I kind of love to see it.
But the thing is, Taylor, she's saying money don't matter. I know you saw Samuel Jackson, what he said.
What he said?
Oh, baby, I can't say it on this.
You're right.
But he did let you know that some of his fans said, we ain't coming to see your movies. He said, F you. He said, that check has already been gotten and spent. What he's saying, I'm not going to choose my movie career over what's right. He said, it doesn't matter that you don't come to my, whatever you don't come to my movie. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do what's right. And he said, I am not voting the way you want me to vote. I'm voting like Samuel L. Jackson wants to vote.
It is good to see those celebrities endorse. I just hate that we pedestalize celebrities to the point where they're the only ones that can really influence young people to vote, because it should not be like that. It shouldn't. I hated seeing, and I always said I hated seeing Megan Thee Stallion when Kamala Harris was in Atlanta on that stage with that blue jumpsuit twerking and stuff for democracy. What time or the place? And I'm saying it. I hated like the Yin Yang Twins and stuff. You saw the Yin Yang Twins?
But the thing is, it's not comedy, it's just people doing stuff.
Yes. It's for entertainment.
It's for entertainment, But for the entertainment, the media tries to twist it and turns it around. Yeah. But it's not her.
Well, I mean, it's because it's not just her either, because Donald Trump had Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt open.
That's right.
On live TV. That's my president. That's what I'm saying.
But, we just have to be educated. I can't stop saying enough that education is the key. It's the key.
It's education. It's also emotional intelligence as well. You might have one part and you might be so logical, but I don't think people ever place the emphasis on the importance of emotion when stuff like this happen. And I feel like Kamala Harris has done a great job of captivating her audiences with emotion. I saw a speech that she gave down in Florida the other day, and she was reciting some victims that end up dying down there, and she was saying, say their name. And it didn't come off performative. It came off very genuine. Like what Donald Trump has, his January 6ers, a lot of them are still in jail. And all he can say is they some fine people.
Fine, good people. Really, even in that march, those are good people on that side. I'm like, really? You know, that's all he can say. These are good people. You know, something wrong with the man.
No, well, he is showing signs with the mantle. And I don't think in that, you know, if you didn't know that, then you just wouldn't know that. But he is showing signs of like brain loss. So like, it's just things to keep up with. If your argument was Joe Biden was too old to be president, that should be your argument for Donald Trump too.
Exactly.
And I feel like he gonna get caught up in this Diddy case too eventually. And the state of New York said that they probably gonna try to put him in jail before the election even happens.
Wow.
So it's so much stuff going on. And then, you know, you have states like Colorado that wouldn't even put him on the ballot. So you have all these things going on, but then I just feel very left out and let down by black people.
I think that because our nation, seems like our morals, our ethics, our values are just depleted. I think that's what's really hurt our nation. Anything goes. You can just do wrong and it's okay because the former president, Trump,
he did everything wrong.
So my point is, if I'm hungry and I go to the store and still love light bread, I'm going to jail and prison.
Why Miss Carolyn just said that to me today?
I'm saying I want to jail and prison.
Yes.
But this person got how many felonies?
Brett Favre.
Okay.
Listen to this. Brett Favre. For those who do not know, Brett Favre got caught up in a scandal for
Southern University.
Food stamps from the food stamp office. Yes, to create a new volleyball court for his daughter down in Southern Mississippi.
Exactly.
And they didn't call Phil Bryant is implicated in this case.
That's right.
The lady that was over the food stamp agency and Brett Favre and several other people.
Right.
Only the lady is the one that went to jail. Now, Brett Favre just got on the news today that said he got Parkinson's. And I said he can park him and his son ass down somewhere and go find them money.
Go find them money. Well, he's trying to pay it back. So if you didn't do nothing wrong, why you want to pay it back?
Well, maybe that Parkinson making his brain corrode, but I don't care nonetheless, because you're right. The upside down is right side up. What's right is wrong. What's wrong is right. And it's just like the morality really is lost. And that is what you could see the difference between the civil rights movement to this movement. Because, Martin Luther King was doing shady stuff like the affairs and stuff. But then you got the leaders over Black Lives Matter who was siphoning money from their campaign to buy houses and mansions. And I feel like this type of corruption is the reason why my generation does not believe in the political sphere. Yes, because you're seeing all the corruption. Like, what can you do? And if you can't get them, join them. That's what they doing.
Just no morals. Because I truly believe that if President Obama had 34 felonies, I don't believe he would be on the ballot. I really don't. I just don't think he would be on the ballot. Because they tried to keep him off the ballot with just the fact that they said he was not a citizen of the United States.
Doing the same thing to Kamala.
Same thing to Vice President Kamala.
They also saying that she is a whore. They said she slept her way to the top.
That's right. So they trying their best to do things, but she's on the ballot. She's on the ballot because I voted for her yesterday. But my point is, though, it's a double-sided system. That's what I want to say.
It's a double standard.
Double standard. So I just truly believe that if President Obama had 34 felonies, I don't think. First of all, I don't think he'd never make the ballot if he had some of the things that Trump had done. I don't think he would never been.
See, and that is what is getting these white baby boomers. They like once he got them felonies and stuff, they were stupid.
Yeah,
like they and that is their morality,
right?
But these other the rednecks, the uneducated whites, they live for that. That don't matter.
But they vote against their interest.
But
it's the poor people who are voting against their own interests.
And then they're saying that him having these felonies is a way to connect to the black voters. I don't know, as a black voter,
That's degrading my race.
It is.
You know, like y'all, I got felonies, I can connect with y'all. What do that say?
That say that African Americans are more convicted than any other race.
Exactly. So, you know, you got to think about what people say.
They not thinking. They not thinking.
Totally.
No, I'm telling you, social media is corroding the brain.
It is.
They get in force fed so much information, they don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's real, what's fake. Then you got AI technology.
Yes.
And they've been pulling so many stunts, and the information is coming in so fast. I told you, P, it's like people don't even realize Donald Trump almost got assassinated last week for the second time.
I ain't gonna say nothing about that.
Don't say nothing about it. Don't say nothing. We so sad that it happened to Donald Trump, and we hope that he's safe.
Yeah.
And
I don't want nobody to get killed.
I don't either.
But I do want him to be removed.
I want the Secret Service to do better too.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't think. I don't think a person with I don't want to be under the leadership of a person that got 34 felonies, because I feel like you don't make good decisions. I know that if I had 34 felonies, I wouldn't be sitting at my dining room table today.
Nah, you wouldn't. You'd be in the mess hall.
I'd be in the mess hall.
Yes, you would. You would. You'd be back there.
I'd move it right around.
It's real motherfucking simple with me. Until Kamala Harris go to jail, until Kamala Harris become a convicted felon, until Kamala Harris file motherfucking bankruptcy 6 times her and her company, until Kamala Harris is impeached twice, until Kamala Harris is indicted 4 motherfucking times, until Kamala Harris is found liable for sexual abuse, until Kamala Harris is found guilty of motherfucking fraud and got to pay $300 and some motherfucking million, until Kamala Harris start a motherfucking insurrection, until Kamala Harris try to overthrow a motherfucking election, until Kamala Harris is married 3 motherfucking times, until Kamala Harris have 5 kids from 3 different motherfucking men, until Kamala Harris do any of that, she's a better motherfucking candidate to me. Like, you do whatever you want to do with your motherfucking vote. But I'm not voting for no motherfucking rich white man to be able to do whatever the fuck he want to do. I'm just not doing it. I don't hate motherfucking women that much. And I damn sure don't hate a black woman that much. So you can vote for a motherfucking AKA, or you can vote for the motherfucking KKK. You can vote for whatever motherfucking K you want to motherfucking vote for. That's your motherfucking business. But Trump been telling you since 2017, he gonna show you that motherfucking healthcare plan. Has he shown you yet? He been telling you since 2017, that motherfucker coming in 2 weeks. It's gonna be big, it's gonna be beautiful. Has he showed you yet? He told you he's gonna overturn motherfucking Obamacare. Did he do it yet? He told you Mexico's gonna pay for that fuck ass wall over there. Did they motherfucking pay for it yet? He told you gonna raise motherfucking minimum wage. Did he do it yet? He was going to lower the motherfucking price on prescription drugs. Did he do it yet? But she need to motherfucking explain something. She don't ever talk about her. Yes, she motherfucking do. You just don't want to motherfucking hear. That lady told you she trying to get $25,000 motherfuckers you trying to buy on. Trying to build 3 more motherfucking million on. Trying to lower the drug prices for everybody, not just the elderly. Trying to get tax cut to the middle motherfucking class. That lady trying to no tax on tips or whatever the hell it is. That lady telling you what she trying to motherfucking do. You just don't want to motherfucking hear.
Answer the last question, and then we gonna get on from up out here. All right. So, and this is a great segue, great way to end this episode. Now, there seems to be some sort of disconnect, and that is what we're here to discuss. This disconnect between the generations regarding the importance of voting. Drawing from your experiences, what strategies can be employed to effectively bridge this gap, and how can we convey the significance of the hard-won rights to younger millennials and Gen Z, ensuring that they understand the historical context and the ongoing need to protect and exercise this right. Now, before you jump in, I just really wanted to bring up that case that happened out in Atlanta with the barbershop. Did you hear about that? So there was a black-owned barbershop in Atlanta, which is a black city, and they received a phone call from Trump's team. According to the owner of the barbershop, he said that Trump wanted to go down there and talk about small businesses. And when he got up there, he said that he was strong-armed, and they ended up talking about Donald Trump and how great he was to the Negro people of the community, and they brought all the coons in to help corroborate the story. And then as time went on, we found out that probably wasn't even the case, that it just made him look bad. Like, and I feel like that is that disconnect, because I feel like nobody from your generation would have even tried to pull that stunt.
Well, the same thing he did with the journalism, you know.
You talking about the black journalism
conference. You know, he tried to pull a stunt there. It didn't work for him, you know. So it's twisting of thing, making it seem like it is, but it's not. But I struggle with what you just asked. How do you make that disconnect that we have? We've been struggling with that. Activists have been struggling with that. Even when I was in the Southern Poverty Law Center training, that was one of the big things that we were talking about, was how to get Gen Z to vote. What do we do different? And matter of fact, that was my research. That was my topic that I presented. And again, I go back to the whole thing. It was education, and we had to bridge. We got to bridge that gap between the Gen Zs and the elders. And how do we do that? Is we got to have some conversations. So my solution was that we have got to get back to our churches. That's where it started.
You know what?
We got to get back ministers and back to our churches.
So I was having this interesting conversation a couple weeks ago. I ended up going, you know, the farmers won their lawsuit, so they had a celebration. Yes. And one of the events they had was with the Black Voters Matters, and that's an organization, and they're full of Black older baby boomers that participated in Bloody Sunday, in the marches between here, Alabama, Tennessee, et cetera, et cetera. And there was a question that was asked, how do you get the younger people to vote? And they were talking about the churches. The churches have disappointed me. That's something I will continue to say, because the churches used to be the cornerstone of the Black community. They were the original grassroots organizations. They were the ones who educated into life. Now, as again, the generations have passed, they don't do nothing but allow political speakers to come in and speak.
Now that's who they are.
Yeah,
not speak now, not really speak, but now it's who they are
and what they running for,
right?
And what position they want,
right?
So, and I was asking them, they was like, well, I was like, I personally feel like they're allowed to do this because they are now receiving funds from the government now, right? If you're receiving funds from the government, there's specific things that you can and cannot say, can and cannot do. And the endorsement of political figures is one of them. One of the mayor of Calhoun City corrected me. He said that's not true. That he said that 10% of that money can be allocated to work for political figures in that area, is whether or not the pastors choose to do so or not. And we also understand that there is corruption going on in a lot of these churches on a micro level and a macro level. It's getting bad. And it's because they receiving money, under the table money, hush money, just like the politicians and everyone else. So is the church a reliable thing? Because we are seeing this exodus of young people leaving the church. Matter of fact, Black girls and women are the largest leavers of the Black church right now. And it's usually the opposite.
Exactly. But we got to start somewhere. So Dr. King started in the churches. He did. That's why all the meetings were held. You know, most of the meetings were held in churches, some community centers, etc., in the homes of different people. But the churches, though, was one of the main places that Black people gathered.
Now, this was even during enslavement.
Yes, it was. But the thing is, if we can get some of our ministers to buy into educating, have some seminars in that fellowship hall about voting, about the rights, etc., then we might can reach some of the young generation. We got to try somewhere. That was one of our solutions.
So, okay, so this is my political brain thinking, okay? There is supposed to be a separation between
church and city.
Okay, so we are seeing the rise of white evangelicals, and they have completely integrated the church and politics, and they have made politics their god.
Yes.
Okay, so like what makes it different almost?
The difference is when African Americans came up, church was so important. Their faith, listen to me, their faith was so important, and they didn't let anything else interrupt it or change that. And even today, they don't mix politics with religion. That's a strong point. They're not going to do that.
Well, you know what? And this brings it back to the full circle moment. Malcolm X in the Ballot or the Bullet, he was talking about how Black nationalism needs to be your religion and how you can participate in Black nationalism, whether you're an atheist, whether you're a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, because there are Black people that do not and will not go to church, whether it's because of their beliefs, whether it's trauma, area access, whatever it may be. You're right. For me personally, if I were to answer this question, it goes back to education. I feel like there needs to be more programs dedicated to teaching young children about the education system before they get to high school. They need to be introduced to this stuff because it's so complicated. It needs to be introduced to them like 5th grade level on upwards because they don't understand.
They don't. And if you don't catch them at a significant age, it just don't happen. Well, if you don't educate people at a certain age, they don't make those changes. They don't get those beliefs or they don't get those morals back. You have to integrate this information while children are young.
You also have to destigmatize politics from being boring. I think that like politics has this negative connotation of being boring. And if anyone watched the last debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, they were somewhat tickled, regardless of who they was rooting for.
Right.
Because it was hilarious.
It was.
I was tickled.
But I was happy.
I was too, because Kamala did a great job.
She did an awesome job.
And she represented well. Now, she did get caught lying. I believe
just one time.
Yes, but Donald Trump
I had told her 3 times or more. But what I was looking at the other day was they were looking at how Vice President Kamala Harris, her approval has jumped significantly, more than any other candidate in years since Bush. But they were saying that she done it right because she didn't try to step out and take President Biden's place. She stayed in her lane, and she migrated now to the fact that I am now a candidate running for president. She didn't try to degrade him,
and she also had a shorter time to get this done.
She did, and so she done it right. She done it humbly, and so I think that's where now you begin to see people say, "Hey, I'm getting to know her," because she don't act like she's thirsty for power. So when you act like you're thirsty for power, that's when people kind of bag off.
Yeah, it turns people off.
It turns people off. And she's done it right. She's honored Vice President Biden. She have not degraded him. She respected his position. And now she's in the position running. So I think that, I think that's why she's pulling some of the young people in college, etc., the younger generation.
It's the young women. And I always be telling folks, and if it apply, let it. If it don't apply, let it fly. But I be telling them they need to just focus more on the young women because these young men they're not gonna get up and vote. If they not educated about it, they not gonna get up out their houses or stop working or doing whatever they is to make an effort to go and vote.
Exactly. But women is a lot of women in this world.
In the state of Mississippi, women outnumber men. Like for every 100 women, there's like 86 men.
Okay.
And there's more men in the prison system.
Yes, right.
That's all I got to say. It's more women out here than it is men.
So I think women might be the one that tipped this election. Women.
Do you feel like it's going to take a woman to fix this country?
I think so.
What makes you feel that way?
I do because women they are emotional.
They're emotionally intelligent.
They're intelligent, but because they're emotional, they care. It's that caring that's going to make the difference. Men can walk away from things. Women are giving some attention. So I think that to correct a lot of things in our nation, it's going to take a caring woman. And women have more emotion. Not that you can't make good decisions because you're emotional. We make very good decisions and we're emotional, but we care. I think that it's going to take a woman.
I hope that it's correct.
I'm praying about it.
I am too. I've been praying about it too, just because even as a Black woman, like I feel like there's even a lot of Black women who are even hesitant to even vote for Kamala Harris. Like for real. We've seen a lot of Black women speak up against Kamala Harris and speak for on behalf of.
Yes.
And it's just a lot of mixed signaling. And I feel like the first time Kamala Harris, if given this position to run, to be president, the first time she fails, people going to say, I told you so.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that we're going to hear a lot if she's in that position.
Well, they said the same thing about President Obama. I told you so. Black men can't do this. But he ran 2 offices, not one slip up doing evil things. Not one. Couldn't find nothing.
No.
So, and it's like you do if you do. What the old saying?
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
So you can't please everybody. You just got to make the best decision that you can. But I would say that I wish everybody would have the opportunity to meet Vice President Kamala Harris, because I am.
You did.
Yeah, I met her personally. I've been able to attend events at her home.
She would laugh down in your face like that.
Hug me, talk to me. And so she's a very nice lady.
I believe
she's a lady, a woman, just like you and I, even though, she's in this prestigious position as vice president. But when she's not, she's a woman, a true woman.
Yeah. And she's also earned.
Yes.
She's worked very, very.
She's earned her place.
Yes, she has.
Nobody gave her anything.
No, and her reputation speaks for itself. And I hate that, because even when talking about her Blackness or whether or not she's Black or not, her affiliations and things shows you that she sees herself as a Black person.
Yeah.
Her interest in her sorority. And that's another thing that she said, is that her mother raised her and her sister up as Black women, the best way she knew how to.
Exactly.
And I just, I don't know how I respond if someone were to question my Blackness, but I grew up Black and I look Black.
But get this. This is the way it is in the United States. If you got an ounce of Blackness in you, what do you consider?
A nigga.
Okay.
That's what I said. When do we get away from the one drop rule?
That's right.
Because it's always been that
way. Drop. This one drop. You're not pure.
I told you, if it ain't right, it ain't right.
That's right.
I just want us to really get to this point where we can, it's not even communicate to the younger generation, but in some way open their ears. I feel like, you know what, and I'm glad I brought that up. I have been seeing an influx of celebrities actually really piquing my attention when it comes to their support towards Kamala Harris when it comes to police reform, especially with Project 2025, and we're talking about their access. The police will have more access to you. They'll have right to be able to search and they don't need all these extra barriers and protections. Your rights will be gone. And so, like, seeing people like Plies, I know you know who Plies is?
I don't.
It's okay. You should look him up. He has, like, every day he gets on the internet supporting Kamala Harris, very loud, very brass. He's a Black man. I love him. What's the other one? He's a Crip. What is his name? YG.
I heard YG.
YG has been in support of Kamala Harris too, and I think it takes more men like that. But again, it's sad to me to know that Black men need to tag along and other men have to
bring them along.
That's sad. Why you can't do it on your own?
Exactly.
So
again, it's the education.
Okay. Well, we can only babysit and hold their hand for so long before we had to let them go and pop the training wheels off. We only got so much time.
That's right.
So you can, I'm sorry. I leave that to the more patient Christians. That's not my ministry. That's not my plan. I'm ready to get up and go right now. Okay. From the bandit to the bully.
Bandit to the bully.
Shout out to the slaves. Yeah, shout out to the slaves. You feel me? Shout out to Harriet Tubman. Shout out to the
world niggas. Shout out to the Mississippi niggas. Yeah, shout out to the Mississippi. Yeah, big penitentiary tractor dragging ass niggas. Yeah. And they don't talk loud. They whisper. Dangerous niggas whisper.
And shout out again to all those people who hate my guts.
Y'all are doing a justice and an effort to the world. Keep breaking these men down one at a time.
Shout out LGBTQ. You are obsessed and sick
And we are back with the Big Black Shout Out, the blackest shout out in the world. Now, for those who do not know, the Big Black Shout Out is an opportunity to help circulate the Black dollar back into our communities and for audience members to explore Black-owned hidden gems. Now, Miss Teresa, who would you like to shout out today?
Oh, I have to always give a shout out to Get Out the Vote Northeast Mississippi, because we are working so hard to try to get people to vote, because there's power in the vote.
Yes.
There's power in the vote. And if there wasn't any power in the vote, there would be no reason to try to disenfranchise people. Power in the vote. So Get Out the Vote is working hard. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. We're just trying to make sure
you get out and
understand, get out and vote. But that's where your power. That's where you go and see it.
Hold on, what's their social media handles for Get Out the Vote?
Just Google Get Out the Vote.
Mississippi.
North Mississippi. Just Get Out the Vote. Lee County is what I'm in.
Okay.
But just Get Out the Vote, Lee County. That's their social media handle.
That's powerful. Yeah. Shout out to them.
Okay.
Who's the next organization?
I'd probably say Indivisible Northeast Mississippi. It's a group of ladies and men, some men, but mostly ladies. It's also a national organization too. But they work very hard in equity, trying to make sure equality is for all people. And we do a lot of protests, we do voting, we do bring people in to educate other people. It's a great organization. So Indivisible Northeast Mississippi, just Google it, Indivisible Northeast Mississippi, you're going to find it.
Okay. Shout out to Invisible.
Shout out to Indivisible Northeast Mississippi. And I always shout out to Sigma Gamma Rho.
Oh, that's powerful.
Because social action is one of our initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get out there and fight for what's right. It comes from the headquarters, okay?
Yes. Shout out to the Pretty Poodles.
The Pretty Poodles.
Yes, ma'am.
And lastly, the NAACP.
Yes.
I have to mention the NAACP again. That's Lee County, North Mississippi, NAACP. And you know what NAACP stands for. It's for all colors, all races, fighting for rights.
Right. Well, I love that. Shout out to all those Black-owned organizations and business. Now, if you or someone else would like a shout out or you need free promo, make sure you're reaching out to me at Afrocentric Podcast. That's Afrocentric Podcast at gmail.com. Miss Teresa, I really did enjoy this conversation with you. I really did. The ballot and the bullet voting rights then and now. I feel like this conversation is needed. Number one, because young people don't like to listen to older people, and they can't sit up here and argue with no podcast audio. You can't get up here and go back and forth with the podcast, baby. You're going to have to take care of that internally.
Exactly.
Yes, this episode was full of so much information, whether it was new and now, and I hope people are able to see your perspective, your generation's perspective about why voting is so important and why it's so important to continue this legacy. So I just want to thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Black community before I let you go?
I would just like to say one word. You're resting on somebody else's shoulder.
I like that.
You're resting on somebody else's shoulder. And so don't disappoint them.
I like that.
Don't disappoint them. So go out, use your power, use your voice, take that pen and vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your power is. I want to say thank you to the National Paralympic Council in Northeast Mississippi for empowering all of our fraternities and sororities, because we have some power in this nation.
What?
We have some power.
Did you hear them at the doggone? Trump said she was at the sorority party. They making them upset.
Right. So we have some power today. So shout out to the NPAC because we're working very hard. We're in the schools trying to make sure young people are registered. We're in the community. We're partnering with Get Out the Vote. So I just want to say thank you to the leadership in the National Paralympic Council, the national, as well as our state and local.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing to be Afrocentric today. Now, for my listening audience, I want to thank you guys so much for choosing to be Afrocentric today. Please remember that Black Lives Matter. Make sure to listen and protect Black women and children. And remember that the only thing that you must do in this lifetime is be Black and die. Now, here at the Afrocentric Podcast, we're just civilized people having civilized conversations. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated.
Well,
so you can have him. And here's what I'll say. I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. I think the problem is so bad that we can have no understanding at all.
You think it's gotten to the point where there can never be that reconciliation?
No. You talk about justice, and it means one thing to you, and we talk about it and it means something else to us. And it'll always be that way. And I'd like you to know I have a terrible feeling against preachers because I think you guys are the ones who are largely responsible for the problem in the first place. And you can accept it or not any way you choose. And for you, this may be an excursion, you know, across the line.
What about the person that wants to listen? I genuinely feel that I want to listen.
Well, if you listen and try to do something, you get kicked out of your church. See, that's the way your people are.
Well, we can make changes, right? I mean, some of the changes that have come have been drastic.
God bless you, little brother.
Yes, sir.
Come back and see us again sometime.